My wife slept with my stepfather to get the family villa, not knowing it was already mine. I seriously do not even know how to start this because I feel completely humiliated by what has been happening. And I do not mean just a little embarrassed. I mean deep, gut-wrenching shame. How else can I explain that my wife has been sleeping with my stepfather? Yes, you read that right. My wife has been hooking up with the man who married my mom. I am 36 years old, and my wife, Monica, is also 36. We have been married for 8 years, and for the most part, things were pretty normal between us. Sure, we had our fair share of arguments like any other couple, but nothing crazy. Most of the tension usually came from her accusing me of being too close to my mom. She would call me a mama's boy more times than I can count. I am not going to sit here and argue with that because the truth is, I adored my mom. She passed away 3 years ago, and honestly, I have no regrets about how much I loved her. She raised me all by herself, did everything she could and more, and gave me a life far beyond what she could afford. My mom stayed single until about 12 years ago when she met Peter. He was a man in his late 40s who had already gone through a divorce when they got married. To this day, I have no clue what my mom saw in Peter that made her want to get married after being single for 20 years. I never really accepted him as a father figure. He was just kind of there. Whenever I went to visit my mom, which I did once a week, our interactions never went past a polite hello and a quick smile. Even though I could never warm up to him, I never let it show because I knew my mom was happy to have someone in her life, especially towards the end. After she passed, Peter honestly faded into the background for me. I did not keep in touch, did not visit, and except for seeing him at her funeral, he basically ceased to exist in my world. He still lived in my mom's house, but I had no reason to deal with him. Or so I thought. Everything changed the day I caught him sitting with Monica. I was driving past a little coffee shop and spotted them sitting together. But it was not just that they were together, it was the way he had his arm wrapped around hers. It was not the kind of casual hug you give a family member or an older relative. Their body language made my stomach twist. It felt off. Way too familiar. It threw me off even more because Monica had never been close to Peter. I had never been close to him. So seeing them sitting together like that, acting all cozy, felt so wrong. I was watching from inside my car, and they were sitting outside under the patio umbrellas. That day, I had left work early to catch up with an old friend. I never even planned to be in that part of town. That cafe was nowhere near my office or our house. I was not supposed to be anywhere close to there. I tried to shake it off and went to meet my friend, but I could barely focus on the conversation. My friend kept asking what was on my mind, and I just told him I was stressed out about work. How could I even begin to explain what I had seen? When I finally got home, I could not keep it inside. I confronted Monica right away and told her I had seen her with Peter. Her face went pale, and she froze like a deer in headlights. After a moment, she stammered out that yes, she had lunch with him. I asked her why, all of a sudden, she would meet up with him. She claimed she had bumped into him by chance, and he invited her to grab lunch. I just stared at her, and I could tell she realized I had caught more than I was letting on. Then she started explaining that Peter had been really upset about losing my mom, and that she was simply trying to comfort him. She told me he was lonely and had nobody to talk to, so he held her hands while talking about how much he missed her. But here's the thing, I never told her I saw him holding her hands. I had seen him wrapping his arms around her. And the vibe between them? It did not look like two people mourning together. They were not laughing or joking around, but their energy felt flirtatious. Like something more was happening beneath the surface. I did not call her out right then. I just stayed quiet because I did not believe a word she said. But I knew I had to figure out what was really going on before pushing things further. Monica works as a nail technician at a nail salon. She works weekends and usually has days off during the week. That arrangement had never been a problem for us, until recently. Lately, she had been constantly busy with work, and we had been fighting about how little time she spent with me. She accused me of being too clingy ever since my mom passed away. She claimed that before, I spent so much time visiting my mom that I never noticed how busy she was. But that was not true. I used to visit my mom on weekends, the same days Monica worked. On her days off, I always made it a point to come home early so we could spend time together. Back when my mom was alive, Monica used to complain that I was too close to her. Now, she was acting like I was needy and too demanding. And with all that tension already simmering, catching her with Peter that day just made everything worse. A few weeks later, family dinner rolled around. And out of nowhere, Monica suggested we invite Peter to dinner. I was caught off guard by how direct she was about it. She said he was all alone and had nobody to spend the holiday with, and as family, we should include him. I reminded her that she never invited them over for holidays when my mom was alive. She brushed that off and said it was different back then because they had each other. Now, poor Peter was by himself. In the end, I agreed. Seriously, I wanted to see how they acted around each other in front of me. Looking back, I can say they did not behave normally. But if I had not already suspected something, nothing they did would have raised alarms. I stayed mostly quiet during the dinner. I had never liked Peter, and knowing what I knew just made me resent him even more. I could tell he sensed my hostility. The whole dinner was awkward. Monica kept trying to lighten the mood with small talk, but neither of us really engaged. It was just fake smiles and uncomfortable silence. I could not keep living with this knot in my chest, so I decided to come up with a plan. At first, I thought about going through her phone, but it was locked, and I did not want to tip her off by asking for the password. So I had to get creative. I told Monica I had to go out of town for a few days for work. On the day I left, I packed up like normal, kissed her goodbye, and drove off. But instead of leaving town, I went straight to my office. Before that day, I had secretly installed a GPS tracker in her car so I could follow her movements remotely. Sure enough, just before noon, she drove straight to Peter's house. At that point, I wanted nothing more than to catch them in the act. But at the same time, I was scared. What if I showed up and they were just sitting around talking? I would look like a complete fool, jumping to conclusions. So, instead of going myself, I decided to get some backup. I called up my buddy Sam and told him everything. I shared all my suspicions and asked if he could help me out by swinging by Peter's place. It felt like a safer move. If anything weird was going on, Sam could witness it firsthand without tipping them off. I explained the plan. If he saw anything shady, just record it on his phone. The front door had a keypad lock, and I was really hoping Peter had not bothered to change the passcode since my mom passed. Sam was a little hesitant, worried that Peter might think he was snooping around or breaking in. I reassured him, saying that if Peter questioned him, he could just pretend the front door had been left open and he came by to check on him. The front door did not open directly into the living room. There was a little hallway before you got to the main part of the house. So nobody would even see him unlocking the door if he used the code. After a lot of back and forth, Sam finally agreed. He let himself in and started looking around. He did not see anyone in the hallway, so he slowly made his way toward the bedroom. He had his phone camera already rolling, tucked inside his shirt pocket with the lens peeking out so it looked natural. And what did he find? Yeah, there they were. The two of them, completely naked, wrapped up in each other's arms. Sam panicked, blurted out sorry, and bolted out of there before either of them could react. Peter came running after him, demanding to know what the hell he was doing there. Sam played it cool and said he was just stopping by to check in, but it was all good. He would come back another time. He jumped into his car and drove off before anyone else could confront him. Now, here's the kicker. My genius friend had accidentally been recording with his front camera the entire time. So instead of capturing them in bed, he filmed his own chest and face. The only thing on the video was audio of Monica and Peter freaking out when Sam barged in. Even though I did not get the footage I hoped for, Sam's word was more than enough. I had my confirmation. I had already packed up a bag with clothes and my toiletries before leaving the house that morning, so I drove straight to Sam's place. His wife was out of town visiting her parents, so he insisted I stay with him while I figured things out. Monica must have known Sam would spill everything, because she immediately started texting me, asking when I was coming home. I did not reply. I completely ghosted her. She kept blowing up my phone with message after message, call after call. But as far as she knew, I was still out of town for work. That was 5 days ago. Since then, I have already gotten in touch with a lawyer online. I do not ever want to see her disgusting face again. I'm planning to serve her divorce papers and get her kicked out of my house. Update 1. It ended up taking 7 days for the lawyer to get the paperwork together. Monica refused to sign right away. She kept pushing for us to talk things over. My lawyer recommended we try for an out-of-court settlement since it would save both time and money. Look, I work in sales. I do not make a fortune. I only have so much money to throw at legal fees, and my vacation days are limited, so I agreed to meet. The meeting was held in the lawyer's office, but Monica kept begging for a private conversation. At first, I said no, but my lawyer advised me to go ahead, as long as I stuck to a set of rules. No physical contact, No hugs, no emotional confessions, nothing like that. Just keep it professional and distant. Seriously, even being in the same room with her made my skin crawl. She tried to hug me, but I stepped back and refused. Then she started with her excuses. She said it was all one big misunderstanding. I had read enough cheating stories on Reddit to know exactly where this was going. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "Oh yeah? You were just comforting a poor, lonely old man, huh?" She nodded and admitted that Sam had seen what he saw, but she insisted nothing more had happened. According to her, they were just cuddling. Naked. In bed. Just cuddling. Sure. But then she dropped a bomb I did not see coming. She told me she only did it for our future. I stared at her like she had lost her mind. What the hell do you mean, our future? She explained that since my mom had left all her assets to Peter, if he remarried, that woman would inherit everything. Her logic? By getting close to Peter, she could prevent him from marrying someone else and keep the inheritance in the family. I could not believe what I was hearing. I shot back. So let me get this straight. You slept with my stepfather because you wanted to become my stepmother and inherit my mom's estate? The twisted absurdity of it all made my head spin. I was so overwhelmed I just stormed out of the meeting. When I got back to the lawyer's office, he asked what happened. I told him everything. He could not help but laugh for a second at how ridiculous it sounded, but then he got serious and asked about the inheritance details. My mom had left me a house that she had inherited from her uncle. It was a massive place, way beyond anything I could have ever afforded myself. Funny thing, Monica had always been obsessed with that house. After we got married, she kept pushing me to move in. At first, I thought she wanted to be closer to my mom, which I appreciated. But nope, she wanted my mom to move out and for us to take over the villa. I refused. It was my mom's home. Why should she be the one to leave? Monica argued that since I was my mother's only child, the house would eventually be mine anyway, so why not move in sooner? We fought about it constantly. Eventually, to shut her up, I lied and told her my mom had left the house to Peter in her will. And now you see the price I paid for that lie. Monica went after Peter, thinking she could get the house through him. But here is the twist. Monica never knew the truth. My mom had willed the house to me, but after she passed, I never transferred the deed to my name. I wanted Peter to keep living there as long as he wanted. It felt wrong to kick him out or make him feel like he was living on my property. Plus, transferring the title was expensive and money was tight back then. Looking back, I am so glad I never put the house in my name. If I had, Monica would have been entitled to half of it in the divorce. Or maybe she would not have bothered sleeping with Peter if she had already secured the house, who knows. But at the end of the day, a cheater is a cheater, no matter what. Monica still kept trying to talk me out of the divorce. She told me she was working on convincing Peter to leave her the house in his will. She swore that if I stayed married to her, the villa would be ours someday. I could not help but laugh right in her face when she pitched that ridiculous idea. I told her, "No thanks, best of luck with your villa." She gave me this smug little smirk and warned me, "You're losing a lot by going through with this divorce." I just smiled and said, "I don't care." Seriously, I could not tell if she was always this clueless or if she was just putting on an act to save herself from the humiliation. Either way, I was done. Monica knew I did not have any real money besides the savings in our joint account, which we had already split. I cannot even describe the relief I felt once the divorce was finalized. If Monica had ever learned the truth about the villa's ownership, she would have fought tooth and nail to avoid divorcing me. There is no way I could have shared my mom's inheritance with someone like her. She ruined her own chances the moment she confessed her real motives for getting involved with Peter. I planned to use that confession to blow up whatever relationship she thought she had with him. I remember seeing Peter pick her up from the courthouse, helping her handle paperwork during the divorce. I was just biding my time until it was official, waiting for the perfect moment to pop her little fantasy. Now that the papers were signed, I knew exactly what I wanted to do next, destroy whatever hold she thought she had left. Update 2. Right after the divorce was finalized, I texted Peter with the full rundown of what Monica had admitted to me. I told him straight up, "She only got close to you because she thought she could get my mom's house through you." Peter replied, "You know the house was willed to you, right?" I told him, "Yeah, I have the will, but Monica has no idea. She thinks you own it, and she was planning to convince you to give it to her." I was not trying to do Peter any favors. I just wanted to ruin Monica's plan. She had been dreaming about that villa, thinking she had it all figured out. Peter told me that lately Monica had been asking weird, indirect questions about his will and who would inherit his stuff, but he had never really picked up on her true intentions. I had no interest in building any sort of friendship with Peter, so I left it at that. A little while later, my phone rang. It was Monica. Normally, I would not have answered, but I knew exactly why she was calling, so I picked up. She was screaming at me over the phone. "Why didn't you tell me your mom left the house to you? I have been kissing up to that old man, literally, thinking I was protecting your family's property, and you let me waste my time." I could not stop laughing. Every insult she threw at me just sounded like desperation. I replied, "Thanks for everything, Monica. Good luck with your little mission," and then hung up and blocked her number. But of course, that was not the end of it. A few days later, she managed to call me again from some random number, probably borrowing a friend's phone. She told me Peter had dumped her. Apparently, once he found out she had been using him for the inheritance, he called her a greedy manipulator and broke things off. She was furious, ranting about how ungrateful he was after everything she did for him. I could not believe she was still trying to spin the story to make herself look innocent. She kept claiming she had only been with Peter for my sake, so that we could secure the house for our future. I laughed and said, "Oh yeah, sure. You have been sleeping your way through the family tree out of pure selfless love, right?" She doubled down, insisting she had been trying to help Peter through his grief and loneliness. It was unbelievable. She still would not admit she was driven by greed. But she did not stop there. She kept trying to contact me through every possible channel, pleading, guilt-tripping, begging me to give her another chance. She even showed up at my house, my workplace, and everywhere she knew I went. One day, she actually waited for me outside my gym and tried to corner me into talking. It was a complete nightmare, but I just kept ignoring her. As far as I was concerned, she was a stranger to me now. And technically, we were divorced. Update 3. I really thought this whole mess was behind me. But as soon as I filed the paperwork to officially transfer the villa into my name, she resurfaced. I swear, I do not know what it was with her obsession over that house. I mean, sure, it is $1 million villa. Anyone would want it. But I had no idea how long it would take her to finally let it go. 5 months after the divorce, I had finally saved enough to cover the transfer fees. When I applied to transfer the title, I let Peter know as a courtesy. By that time, he had already moved out. After I found out about his affair with Monica, I never asked him to leave, but he decided on his own to pack up and go. He even handed over control of the house's smart lock system to me. It took a couple of months to get the paperwork finalized. While I waited, I had the place painted, cleaned up the overgrown lawn, and hired a crew to restore the pool. I had been completely no contact with Monica since the last time she called me screaming. As far as I knew, she and Peter were over. So imagine my surprise when I got a call from the cleaning supervisor telling me a woman was walking around inside the house. I was not even there that day. The manager told me they had tried to stop her from entering, but she claimed she was my wife. She was wandering through the rooms, running her hands over the walls, acting like she already owned the place. The crew got suspicious and called me to ask what to do. I told them flat out, "I have no wife. Get her out of the house." They escorted her off the property and called me back to confirm. Naturally, she showed up at my front door later, sobbing and wailing that I had abandoned her when she had done nothing wrong. She swore up and down that her intentions were pure, that she had only wanted to protect our family's future. I told her she needed professional help. I said, "You should be checking into a mental hospital, not showing up here." She begged me to let her inside to talk. I slammed the door in her face. And that, hopefully, was the end of it. I even went ahead and filed for a restraining order against Monica specifically for the villa property. She had not been violent yet, but I was not going to take any chances. I needed to make sure the new tenants I was renting the house to would not be harassed or have to deal with her showing up out of nowhere. So far, everything has been peaceful, and I really hope I do not have to come back here with more updates. I just want Monica's chapter to finally close so I can move forward with my life.